Rules, the same rules apply. The same rules for the class apply. Um, then we have project number 3, which is dynamic list generator. This one, trust me, it is nice. Like you are creating a program that generates a list of items using loops. So of course, we are going to be doing, it is going to be wrapped around loops. So of course, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There's a reason why I jumped to this project, because this project, they contain things like DOM, which we didn't cover well. They contain things like events, the JavaScript events. So I didn't want to cover that before doing the basics. Then the final project that is going to be to sum it all. It is not hard. It is dynamic to-do list, like building a complete to-do list application using DOM. Like you see where you put that a to-do list. You just write items, then they populate. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, event handling, and of sorts. Then I think after that, we are going to be done. Yeah, we are going to be done. Let me check the other week. The other week is just advanced. I think I'm going to be covering that in our catch-up. Just briefly, just briefly, that is CSS transition. There's an aspect that I want to teach there during the catch-up class. It's called CSS transition and animation. Advanced JavaScript, we're covering it today. So after that, I'm going to call it a session. Then we are going to discuss things, final project. So yeah. So let me start the class by sharing my screen. And please, please, please go to LMS. Make sure the recordings are downloaded on your computer. I've not shared the screen. I've not shared the screen yet. I'm just conversing here. So go to LMS. Make sure the recordings are downloaded. If you've not downloaded any recording, please download them and put them on your computer. Because today morning, I just cleared out some recordings so that I can have space for mine. Um, Good news is that web development is not affected, but from next week, soon we are going to start specialization, and all the basics, we are going to be deleting them. So no turning back. Anyway, great weekend. A lot has happened, and we are really glad to see you back. So, like I said, rules apply for the class as usual. So, because we don't have time, so I'll just start the session. Let me first of all do the necessary so that we can go to focus. We are not going to pull them down, we are going to delete them. Yeah, not pulling, you're deleting. Somebody's talking about week 8 project. So I'm going to discuss about that. Don't worry. I'm going to discuss about that in the course of the session. So for now, let us focus on content delivery. Let us see what we can do with the few hours we have, like one to 2 hours like this, like even less than 2 hours. I want to be done by less than 2 hours because it is not much. You see, when I deliver content, when I teach content itself, yeah, okay. When I deliver content to you guys, it usually takes time. Why? Because I want you guys to get the nitty-gritty of the concepts. But when it comes to project, trust me, project is easy. Just need to follow the flow. Like it's like a tutorial, but you already have the basics. Like a tutorial, but you already have the basics. So you know better. You can modify it yourself. So it usually runs faster. Like the first one runs faster, the second one runs faster. When I see it fit for you to understand a certain concept that I feel that you need to know, because within the projects, you're going to find that there are these concepts that are so hard, so difficult for people to understand. So that is what I'm going to focus on. Like I'm seeing that, okay, there's something that I'm very sure that is going to confuse you. That is what I'm going to focus on. But regardless, everything is going to be on point. So allow me to bring up my folder. We have web, so let us talk about week 7. So this one is week 7. The session is on the code. week 7. Week 8, we are going to cover it in the catch-up as we do the paraphrase of the entire module. My goal is to make sure that a lot of you enter into specialization, especially full stack development. So far, I can see the registration, you are the majority. So let me bring up code, VS Code. Okay, there you go. Week 7. So when you talk about, we already covered things to do with the, we already covered things to do with the DOM, document object model. It was a great concept. It was a really, really great concept. But we really need to make sure that we are all caught up. We really need to make sure that everything is on point. Trying to find that. Yeah, there you go. Let me disable something here that I almost forgot. Disable. Yep. Sorry. So no raising hands, no anything. I'm just trying to disable things so that I can have us fully focused on the class. Okay, there you go. So when you talk about, we have talked about JavaScript. We have talked about loops, function, everything, statements and everything. But when it comes to event handling, this thing is the driver for JavaScript. Like you see, it is at the apex of advanced JavaScript. So when you understand events, you guys are going to be blooming. Like it is going to be a happy moment for you because a lot of people normally confuse that and they normally don't get it. So when you talk about events, what exactly are we talking about? JavaScript has events, and using these events, we are able to see or to perform actions or do concurrent activities or occurrence that happen only on the browser. So, such as user clicking a button and something happening, when you scroll down, when you hover, when you do this and this. So all of these are events. So they all fall under event handling. So we left at removing elements. I remember that very well. You doing things to do document object model. But today we are going to jump into event handling. We have common events. So let me list them. So events. So when we talk about events, we have mouse events. We have several, so let me just state them, common events in JS. I think I can remember a few. So we have number 1, we have mouse events, like events that relate to you working with your mouse, scrolling, clicking, right-clicking, left-clicking, and so on. So hovering, so mouse events. So among the mouse events that we have several. So we can say we have click, we have double click, or we can say double click. You can double click something. You have mouse down when you try to use the mouse down. We have another one, mouse up, because it is same. We have mouse over, so that is like hovering. Mouse over, mouse over. We have mouse over. We have mouse out. We have mouse move. Hold on, I talk to you. I want to talk to your Nani, your Dean, Eric. Uh, so I just paused the recording for a second, so it is not going to affect the flow of the recording at all. Now, all of these, as you can see, click, double click, mouse down, mouse up, mouse over, mouse out, mouse move. These are common events regarding mouse. But most one that we normally use is click. We normally use click event. Then we have, I'm going to give you the syntax. Then we have number 2. So number two, we have keyboard events. You see, when you press a key, when you just do a key, like just interacting with your keyboard, those are keyboard events. Refreshing a page, Control R, it refreshes a browser page. That is a JavaScript event. So keyboard events. Then we have key down, key up. I think we all have key press. Key press, yeah. I think yeah. I don't remember any other, but I think these are the most common ones. And then we have form events. This when you submit a form, like Google form, when you want to submit. So that's a submit event. You click, then it redirects you to something, to some another page because you have made a submit event. You have submit, change. Let me just see if I can move along with it. So number three. So form event. And then you can see, so among the form events, we have submit, the usual one. Then we have change. You can update a form. Let's say the Google Forms, they allow you to change something. So you can update, so change. Then you have focus. Then you have blur. Yeah, I think blur is also there. And then the fourth one. So I think it is the fourth and the last one, I think. We're just categorizing events. Some other articles, they normally just list them, all of them, without categorizing. So for us, we're categorizing the document. Then we have window. So it is document or window event. So when you talk about document or window event, that web page that you're seeing, that particular web page that you're seeing there, that's a document. Or you can just say a window for those who don't understand. So event. So among these, what we have is merely you can load. You see, Control R, you reload the page. You can resize the page. So when talk about window, we're focusing on the browser, right? Because we said that events that work on the browser. So you can resize, you can scroll through that page or document or window, scroll. So somebody might confuse scroll with the mouse event. Please, you can just scroll with even without your mouse. You can use your touchpad. You can scroll with your keyboard. So that's a scroll also. So that's why it is categorized under window, just general. You can unload. You see? So all of these these are events, common events. Remember, I've just said common events, which means we have so many events out there that we cannot even cover all of them. So we just work with what we normally use. So common events. Now, when an event occurs, an object is created. So have that in mind. You have just covered object like a document object model, right? And in the document object model, we talked about manipulation. So when we talked about manipulation, we have a way we can modify HTML in JavaScript. We have a way we can be able to create HTML elements in JavaScript. We have a way we can be able to remove or delete elements in JavaScript. So when an event occurs, an event object is created that contains information about the event. When you click something, what do you expect? You expect something to happen. So that is what we call JavaScript bringing in the interactiveness, the dynamicness. Like it is so much interactive. When you open a door, you expect it to open so that you can pass through. That's why JavaScript is here. So, like I said, let me just repeat that statement. When you create an event or when an event occurs, you can say that that event object that you're trying to perform there is created that is going to contain a certain kind of information about that event. So don't worry, we are going to see just how a syntax is written. So normally you say element, let me just do this. So element, so this is the syntax, element dot. So here it can be add event listener. So have in mind how I'm writing things. I'm using camel casing. So we have so many casing. Let me bring up my browser here. Let me bring up my browser. So we have camel casing. So casing in programming. You have to understand casing in programming. So we have so many casing, as you can see here on your right, we have flat case or number case. We have kebab case, also known as caterpillar case, like it is splitted apart with a hyphen. We have param case, dash case, blah blah hyphen case, also the same name. We have camel casing. That is what I'm using. Camel casing. We have, let me bring it up, this one here that you're seeing here. So camel casing. So whereby you have capitalization within that letter. So the camel casing, that is what is the most common one. Please, if you forget about casing, use camel casing. Other people use snake casing. We have Pascal casing or capital camel casing. We have this casing that you have everything that is uppercase or scream case. All of this casing that you have. So don't confuse. These are things that I'm very sure you are not taught somewhere else, but these are better for programming. So you can see here in programming languages, casing refers to the style in which words are combined and separated within identifiers like variables, functions, classes, constants, blah, blah, blah. If you have been observing me doing coding, I've been using camel casing. Why? So this one is the most common one. So it is common because it is used in Java, JavaScript, C Sharp, Swift, most commonly used. When you go to Python, you're going to find their style. And you have to be very, very keen to check what kind of style is this person using. You're going to find in HTML and CSS, they are using kebab case. So you're wondering what is kebab case. So as you can see, this one is kebab case. You just put hyphens, you separate your variables. In Python and Ruby, you're going to find them using underscore. Even if I switch to, right now, if I switch to Python, automatically I'm going to switch to snake case. Of course, Python, snake case, this thing, they really rhyme. So Python is a snake, and then you're using snake casing. So they really rhyme. It makes sense a lot. Now, then we have other, like this one is a macro case, not macro, because it is uppercase for this one. So you really need to understand all of these things. It is going to be nice so that you cannot bring, if you're using camel casing, use it throughout your programming. Not in this variable you're using camel case and then the next variable you're using snake casing. No, choose one and stick to it. But as well, go with the style that is used in that programming language. So take note of this. Casing, it is very important. Now, going back to what I was talking about, like I said, in JavaScript, there's a reason why you're using camel casing. Why? Because when you talk about add event listener, you cannot come and say add event listener. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like add underscore event listener. No. So that's why I told you event, then you put listener. So this one is a camel casing. So add event listener. As you can see, we have capitalized E, we have capitalized L. That is camel casing. Not like the other programming languages like that. They're not doing like that, like this. No, no, no. You're not going to find a word in JavaScript that is of sort, like nothing. So add event listener, it can be add event listener, or it can be remove event listener, because we normally just say about add event listener. But today, don't worry, we are going to cover only add event listener. I want to give you a homework to go and pursue or research on remove event listener, because that one as well, it is being used. But for me, I'm just going to use add event listener, because most of the time you perform something that is incremental. When you work in JavaScript, you work with the incrementals, like you add event listener, so you cannot remove, you're not deducting. You can deduct it within, but we normally use add event listener because we can perform other things within. So add event listener. Then here, you can just say this one is an event. Then you can say, so we have several ways. We have several ways on which we can be able to perform event listeners. So here you can come and say function, then the event that you want to, the event variable that you want. Then of course, let me put it that way. So of course, here you're going to put anything that you want to do, like accessing event information. Um, you want it, how do you want it to happen, and so on. Everything pertaining a function. Like you're saying, when I click this one, I want the function to happen. That is what we are talking about. When you click here, when you browse here, when you scroll here, when you do this, when you perform any event, I want a certain function to happen. So coding, so code. This is where you put your code. Simple. So this is where you put your code. Now let us do something a bit to see. For example, just an example. So in essence, when I talk about element, it can be anything. Remember, it can be anything. So it can be a document, it can be blah, blah, blah. But anyway, let us, for example, say element dot add event. This one is not supposed to be capitalized. I just want it to be small for now. Add event listener. Like that. Then I'm going to say I want a click. So if I want a, that's an event. So click event. After clicking, I want something to happen. So I can come and say, I want function, something like this. I can just, let me bring this up to make it shorter. And then I can come and say console log. I normally use console log because I like, it is easier to jump on it really quick. It is not hard. So add event listeners. Um, but in the real sense, this one I can just say this one is event type. So let us just say event type. The type of event, you can choose any of these. Click, key down, double click, load, resize, any type of event. Then this one is, let me just put it in a way that people can be able to understand. So, um, so this one is handler event, handler function, rather. So that's a handler function. So ladies and gentlemen, line 14, what you're seeing in line 14, that is a syntax, a basic, I'm talking about a basic syntax of an add event listener. When I talk about an event listener, that's something that can just help you, just memorize it. Talk about event type, you can put any. When talk about function, now bring anything, any ideas that you have learned about functions, just bring it. Then bring everything that you have learned about DOM, put them inside there, mix them up, then voila, you have everything about event listeners. Now, example of a function reference. So I've talked about function reference. When you talk about function reference, what do you talk about? Because I want to show you things. Sometimes you might not just come and write your function right here like this. No, you just need to come and put the name of the function here, then everything is done. So for example, a good example is that, so we're talking about function. So the function, remember, when we talk about function, there are several kinds of functions that you can be able to use. We have arrow functions. We have this normal function that we normally use, the old gold function. So for example, click handler. So this is the function that I'm declaring here. Then I'm trying to say this one is an alert. Not alter, alert. So I'm going to say button, click. So I want this function to perform that event, to perform this alert. So how do so I've talked about this one is a basic syntax. A good example is this. Now, this one, I'm talking about example function reference. So let me just denote it here. Example of function reference. I think I might forget the name of the typo. See, a function reference, yeah. Not of no, with a function reference. So that's an example. So how does the reference come about? So you come and say element dot add event listener. Then it is about clicking, right? So you just come and say click. Then instead of writing your function here, you can just come and bring it here. So that's it. Like you've just do a functional reference. Instead of bringing the entire function inside here, you can just call the function name. So it is a one-liner instead of having something big. So this one is better because it helps you write clean code. But sometimes for beginners purpose, we normally do it just in a bunch way, like the old way. How about something like anonymous function? So that is what I'm talking about. You write it in like anonymous function. This function, I think you've covered things about anonymous function. If you have not, kindly go and browse it. Not everything is going to be taught in class, please. Have that in mind. We are not going to train you like A to Z of JavaScript. No, we are giving you what is necessary to propel you so that you yourself, you can be able to learn. You see? So that you yourself can be able to learn. Understood? I need thumbs up or thumbs down if you are good so far. Nice. So we are not giving you everything. We are just giving you we are propelling you, are prompting you so that you can be able to perform yourself, to perform your duties yourself, because that's what you're being trained as an engineer. So we are not giving you anything. And if you get a good instructor like me, I'm not going to keep information. I'm going to be providing everything that I can so that you benefit yourself. Now, anonymous function is just a normal function that you can say. So you can come and say, example is an anonymous. So anonymous, something like anonymous. These words, anonymous function. I think I'm okay. So you can just come and say element dot add event listener. I'm talking about click. Remember things you are using things. We have learned about function. Yeah. So we are using functions. So that one you can come and say just function without any parameter at all. Then you can come and bring this. So it doesn't have any parameter or it doesn't have any function name. So that one is called a anonymous function. So you don't know the name of that function at all. So it is anonymous. So let us do the other one, which is the most favorite for the programmers, which is arrow function. So I can come and say example with an arrow function. So come and say element dot add event listener. Click. So arrow function is very simple. Just like I said, instead of putting the function name, you put a double parenthesis, then you put your arrow, that is equal sign and greater than sign. That forms an arrow. Then you can put everything that pertains, something like that. So somebody might say, but that one is an anonymous function. Yeah, it sounds like an anonymous function, but that one is an arrow function. Why? Because I can just pick the entire add event listener with that function and put it in a variable so that I can call that variable easily and use it somewhere else. So have that in mind. The reason I'm using click here is because click is the most common event that we normally use. Most common event. Now, let us see something to do with something called event propagation. When you talk about event propagation, what are you talking about? So in this essence, you have to understand that document object model events are being propagated in two phases. Two phases, not phases, first for a person, like period, like two phases. We have the capturing phase and the bubbling phase. Trust me, you're going to look for this information in this JavaScript book, so you're going to not find it. So propagation. So event propagation. When you talk about event propagation, specifically, you're talking about event propagation in document object model because you cannot perform events without document object model because document object model allows you to perform events. So that one I said is the apex of JavaScript. So like I said, has two phases, event or propagation. So we have two. Number one, we have capturing phase. So what are you talking about capturing? So we are saying capturing phase, it is where you do capturing from the root to the target element, from the root element to the target element. So from the root element, we're talking about something like you're capturing it. I'm going to bring this one out really, really well. Or let us see capturing phase because I think I've forgotten the definition for this thing. Sometimes you just learn by browsing. So we have what is an event bubbling and capturing. So event bubbling and capturing two ways of the event propagating or doing propagation in the HTML and DOM API, so blah, blah, blah. So capturing phase, it is the first phase of DOM event flow. So we talk about first phase is whereby you start with the document at the top. I already gave you a visualization of what DOM is. So where the event starts at the topmost ancestor. I like the way this one brings out the topmost ancestor to the child, to the grandchild. So the topmost ancestor and travels down to the tree to the target element. I don't know if these visuals are working, but no problem. No problem, they're not working. Let's see an image here. Yeah, I think this one may suffice. Let me just open it in a new tab. No, I just want this. Open image in a new tab. So this is a very good example. This one is a very good example. I don't know if I can copy this to your chart. Let me see. Mhm. Yeah. Excuse. I'm having some cold here. So let me save this one. Then I want to upload it to you. Somebody's laughing when I'm saying I have a cold. How fun is that? Anyway, I want to bring it, trying to find it. This thing is built different. Where are the recents? Okay, let me save it as okay, 5D CZ. Date modified. Found it. Yeah, so you can check out that image that I've just uploaded in the charts. If you can access it, thumbs up. So we proceed. So the document, as you can see here, the ancestor here is the document. Then we have HTML, then you have body. Then like in the document, you have HTML. In the HTML, you have body. In the body, you can have a div. In the div, you can have a button. So if you want to capture the button, the capturing way you start from the document, you run down. So the document is the great grandparent. The HTML is the grandparent. The body is the parent, the div is the child, the button is the grandchild. So that one is the ancestry tree, like a tree. Let me disable this name because you start misbehaving. But anyway, let us proceed. Um, so that one is called the capturing phase. So you capture, you go down. So that one is an event propagation phase. So the opposite of it is bubbling, you go up. You try to stress your ancestry, you go up. So I think this image does just summarizes everything that I want to say. I cannot explain more than that. I think that one is much clear. That is event, capturing, and bubbling phase. So from throat to target element, that one is capturing. From bubbling phase to target element, that one is bubbling. That one is bubbling. So from target to root, that one is bubbling. This one is not hard than maths. Please just understand it because it is going to be very important. It is going to be very important. So it is going to be very important. And I'm going to show you how it is important. And sometimes you're going to find this one in your coding, and then you're going to wonder, okay, yeah, so this is the thing that he was talking about. So just take note of that. It is really important. Now let us do the capturing as well. After this capturing and bubbling, we are going to go to projects. So for me, I'll be saying yay, because that is the major thing that I want you guys to understand after this. Now, let me give you examples. Just examples. So maybe a default example. The default one that we talk about is called the bubbling phase. So that one is the default one. The default one. So when we talk about the default one, this is how we talk about. So default is bubbling. Like you trace your way back. That was the default one, and you might not even be aware of that. So when we talk about the default, is normally on false mode. Just pretend you're understanding. Go and do your research, and it is going to be well. So for example, we come and say element dot add event listener. Then you bring in your click, your event. After bringing in your event, your handler. When I talk about handler, I talk about a function. When I talk about a handler, I talk about a function. Then you're false. So this one is a default one. So how about the capturing phase, which is true? So the capturing phase, this is not rocket science, please. Just flow with the flow. Even me, for the first time, I didn't understand it, but when you do enough research and practice using them more and more, trust me, it is going to be great. So capturing phase, how do you do capturing phase? So it is the same thing. Let me just copy the same thing. Then I'm going to give you practical example of that, and then we can jump into projects. So this one is true. Now, how about the practical example? So event propagation example. So let me do an event propagation example. Event proper. Somebody might be wondering, then I'm talking about event propagation. What is exactly event propagation? You see, you're draining us in this mud. So let me just use the definition that we have here. Somebody might be wondering, why are you Googling? I'm using AI on the browser. So this is part of vibe coding. If you don't know, if you don't understand vibe coding, that is what is in the game right now. So we are not meant to know everything. I don't know everything, please. I don't know everything. Yeah, you might be surprised. I don't know everything. I'm just an instructor who has experience in programming, but in these programming languages, I don't know everything. So that's why I have ChatGPT in place. I have my browser AI in place, which is called Brave. It's called Leo, by the way. I have Perplexity, I have Cloudy. I have all of these AIs in place. So please feel free to use this AI. In my masterclass last time, I talked about AI is not going to replace you, so you're not wasting your time. But somebody using AI is going to replace you. You see, people get jobs today using AI. They build application using AI and they get paid. It is not illegal. It is just that you don't want to accept the fact that AI is here to stay. So please use AI. Utilize it, make it to make you lazy. So be a lazy programmer who delivers. Underline the word delivers. So what is event propagation? Yes. So if you don't know anything, just browse. It is going to give you the answer, other than going to the library and blowing off those we call it in Swahili vumbi. Blow. You remove dust from those books so that you can find a definition of something. So event propagation in JavaScript is a mechanism that defines how event travels through a tree, through the tree when the event occurs. Hey, that one is hard. So if it's hard for me, I can just come and do this. Let me show you. In layman's, I'm just trying to give you in layman's. So, so let me explain in an easy to understand way. That is called layman's term. So what is an event propagation? Imagine you have a family tree, you, and someone in your family has a birthday. So the news of the birthday travels through the family in a specific order. So event propagation in JavaScript works similarly. So, but with the elements in JavaScript. So your family tree, those people like you are a child, you have a parent. Your parent, then you have a grandparent, you have a great grandparent, then you have ancestors. So you travel through the tree upwards. That one is called bubbling. You travel upwards to your ancestors. When you travel downwards, that one is called capturing. We are trying to get your, I don't know Mjuku, what is Mjuku in English? Grandchild, yeah, yeah, grandchild. We are trying to get that. So the default one is called bubbling, which is traveling upwards. So capturing phase, so the news, so in this one, I'm just trying to give you an analogy. So the news or the event, so in this case, the event, the birthday news, that was the event, starts from the top of the family tree. So a good example is that the window object, like when you put that web page there, that is the top of the family. So that one is the document or the window or the page. And moves downwards to the person having the birthday, which is the target element. So during this phase, the news might be shared with family members, ancestors of target elements. So keep sharing. So the targeting phase. So this is in capturing phase, targeting phase. So the news reaches the person having the birthday or the target element in this case. The person celebrates the birthday. Yay! That one is the event handler of the target element is executed. So a birthday is meant to be celebrated. It's not meant to be mourned. It is meant to be celebrated. So that celebration is the function happening. Are you getting the point? I think I'm explaining it the best way possible. So the bubbling phase. So after the birthday celebration, what next? So the news travels back to the family tree from the person having the birthday to the top of the family. So during this phase, the news might be shared again to the other family members. Hey, I enjoyed the birthday. I enjoyed the birthday really well. So I think that one is a very good example. If you're not getting it, I don't know. I think you need to wake up now. You are sleeping in my class. So let us see a few examples. Then we can be able to see what to do next. So event propagation. So how do you do event propagation? So event propagation, example. So here you can come and say, now I talked about element. Element is not being used. So when talk about an element, it can be a header, it can be a document. But because we are talking about the usual one, so the document is normally on top. So document, you're wondering, then why is this document being used a lot? Yeah, so this is why. So document add event listener. Then you can come and say, let us do a div. This one is a target element. Actually, this is not the way it's supposed to be done. Let us use something else. Query selector. Then we do a div. So query selector is going to select a particular element. This one is the target element. people. This one is the target element. Then now you can be able to bring an event listener. So just capture what I'm trying to say. I'm going to give this code to ChatGPT so that you can be able to understand. For me, I know how to write the code, but I need you to understand. I might explain in a way that you might not get it, but you're going to get it. Don't worry. So click. So the event is click, or you can say birthday, but you don't have an event called birthday. That one was just an analogy. So function, it is an anonymous function, per se. Then console log. So div was clicked. Talked about, so div was clicked. Close that one. So let me just copy this. Don't be afraid. Let me bring up my ChatGPT. We are about to jump into the next session, so please explain. Yeah. So, sure, let's break it down. So what is happening here? For me, I know exactly what this does. I know exactly what is happening, but I just want you to see. So this one selects the first element div on the page. So div is the element that is being selected. Let me zoom in. I think that one is better. I think I can hear some of you talking there. So, so selects the first element, this first part. So we talked about this. Remember in DOM, we talked about this. And then we have this. But in the real sense, I could have just splitted this one. I could have just splitted this one, but don't worry. We are selecting an element. Remember? I think you can remember the class that I talked about. So forget about everything, focus on this. Selecting the element. So the element in there is called, we're using query selector. So you're using div. Now, then this one add event listener, then blah, blah, blah. So this one sets up an event listener that watches the click event on that div. So it is watches. When you click this one is the watcher, the watchman. Everything here. But what happens to this handler of ours, which is function? So function, as you can see, it is responding, it is doing something. You are saying, okay, now perform something when this one is being clicked. So when the div is clicked, the anonymous function, like I said, doesn't have any name, so it's an anonymous function, runs, or it prints div. Div was clicked on the console. So why is this an event propagation example? So event propagation is how the event moves, blah, blah, blah. I've already explained this one. Top to down, down to top. Now, in your code, the event listener is registered by default in the bubbling phase. So let us see what that is. So if you click an element inside div, like a button, click inside div, the event will bubble up from the inner element all the way to the document. That one, it can be able to be printed out there. So it starts from the small. As you can see, we are targeting from the inner side, like the inwards. Then it travels up so that it can be able to be console logged. Like it's going to be console logged as the whole page. I know this one is rocket science, but just bear with me. So if you want to explore, you can just see. A really good example. So this is a really good example here. You have HTML here. You have HTML. So we have several divs. You have the outer div, which is here. Then you have something here in the middle, which is middle section. Then you have the button itself. So as you can see, so we have a parent, a child, a grandchild. I think that one should now be pretty. So this one produces section, section produces button. So as you can see, if you want to bubble up, you start from here, you travel all the way to the outer side. The opposite is capturing. You go down, you go up, down. So how is JavaScript bubbling face example? So let us see the example. So we want to see the outer face. So we have an ID here called outer face. So you select an element, as usual. Then you respond to the event by doing that. So div was clicked outer. Div clicked outer. So it's going to give you that because you're targeting there. So this one is bubbling. So it is going to start here and go on. Then we have the middleware. So the same thing. Then we have the inner one. So this one, as you can see, the console log is going to do something like that. Inner, middle, and so on. It's going to have that printing out. And everything, if you want to switch to capturing face, so this one is the default one. If you want to switch, you can just come and put through here so that you can have something like this. The same thing, but you put a comma just before you close these two. You come and put a comma, then you put through. So it turns to from bubbling to capturing and so on. Simple. I think if you go and research it yourself and do so many examples on that, when you do so many projects, you're going to find out why. You're going to find out why. And you're going to find out how it is being done. You see, if you just attend a class like this one, you listen in, you take notes, then you forget about it. You go and we are going to meet next time. You're going to forget it, and then they're going to say, I didn't understand JavaScript. But if you take an initiative of being curious and go and do research yourself, trust me, even one day, even 1 hour, you're going to understand it really well because you practice it by doing projects on it. You practice by doing projects on it. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me with pleasure to jump to projects. So I'm going to start with the simplest one, going down to the latest one that we have. So let us start with the interactive button. We are done with event handling. We are done with event handling. There's no much to do there, please. We are going to see much inside the projects because I cannot explain what I'm not practicing. So yeah, even a doctor encounters diseases that they didn't learn in university. Then they try to see how to figure out to move with the practice that they have. So let us start with interactive button .html. This one, of course, I'm going to be really going fast because you're going to have this project. So bear with me. So first things first, this one is part of JavaScript basics. So let me just say JavaScript basics so that you can be able to see the difference basics. And then I'm going to allow your styles. I'm going to allow styles here for now. Then I'm going to come back later. So in here, I just want to perform a couple of things. Then you're going to get it done. Don't worry, it's going to be fast. So let me start this one. Let me fire up this guy. Copy there. Let us see. So there you go. So we are going to be doing reference there. So we start by H1. So H1 JavaScript basics. Then we are going to say, let us have a button. I have this project, so let us have a button. So click to change text. So this one, when was discovered? So this project was supposed to be done when you were doing things to do with the, let me try and remember. When you talk to things to do with the just basics, that is assignment operators, conditional operators, those basic things that we're doing. So I didn't want to interfere at that point because I just want to bring other things on board so that we can be able to see the difference. So we're talking about that. So you come and say ID, something like change text btn. I think that one might suffice. Then I'm going to say, let us put a div. So div, come and say, click the button to change this text. So you're clicking the button to change the text. Then I'm going to say, so this one is going to be an interactive button. So ID, so message area. just like that. So we are done with HTML. Let us see. This is the effect. Zoom in a bit. This is the effect. Just a button is not working, but let us now make sure that it works. So I'm going to be using internal, but first of all, before I go there, so we are going to use internal JavaScript, but before there, let me first of all style our thing here. So body, as usual, we normally start with the font family. So it is normally Arial. I like using it. Sans serif. Yeah, that one. Type was a lot. I don't know. Then we have max width. I want it to be 600 pixels to cover through the page. Let me think again. So margin. You guys already know about CSS, so I don't want to delve deeper into this. Zero. Let us give it an auto as well. Let us do padding. I hope you guys already know the difference between margin and padding. If you don't understand, go and ask AI and tell it to give it to you in a simplest analogy, like in a way that you can be able to understand. Layman's, you can say 20 pixels. You're going to be so surprised on how it is easy to understand these things. Then we can say we have a button already, right? So let us style this button. So we're going to say padding, 10 pixels by 15 pixels. For Kenya's, this is mashamba. So we are not primaring the shamba 10 by no. Font size. Uh, Let us see. Font size. Let us do a bit something small. 16 pixels. And then for those who don't understand mashamba, we're talking about Kenyans are so used to measuring the dimensions of a farm if they want to buy it. So we have 50 by 100, we have 20 by 40. They are used to do that. So if you don't get the sarcasm, please, yeah, it is. So we have cursor. I want my cursor to be pointer. I want my cursor to be pointer. When I hover on that button, I want it to be a pointer. As you can see, it is now a pointer, not like the rest. Let me zoom in. So as you can see, when I go back to the usual, it is now at the center. Now, I think we're done for that. Let us do the message area. So the message area. So what do we do with this? So margin top, I want to put a distancing from the top. Let us do 20 pixels. And then, so messaging area, we're talking about, then we do padding. Please, I'm doing styling for only this one. Typing styling for this one. But for the next project, I'm going to be copy pasting styling, focusing on JavaScript a lot. So I'm going to be doing that, but you're going to be reviewing the projects later on by your own. Interacting with that, I'm going to share the repo. So padding, let us do 10 pixels. Social distancing there, then we can do a border. So this border, let it have a thickness of 1 pixel, let it be solid. And then you can say, just bring a normal coloring, as you can see. So that was the thickness that you're seeing between this here. So you can be able to come and change it to 10, so that you can be able to see, as you can see, just like that. Now, let us do a minimum height. Minimum height. Give it 50 pixels. Yeah. I think that one is done for that. So let us do JavaScript. So how is JavaScript important here? Let us get the reference. Let's get the reference of our nini so that you can be able to see. So we select our elements. So button. Let us do btn. Be a bit conspicuous. Equals to document dot get element. So we're getting element by ID. So the ID in this case you're talking about is message area. Talk about message area. And then we have const. The usual thing. MSG area document dot get element by ID as well. Yeah, get element by ID. Then we can go to come and say, no, I've just mixed everything by the way. This one is supposed to be here. This one is supposed to be here. And then this one is supposed to be here. After that, let us now add an event listener. When you click a button, something should happen, right? We want, when you click a button, you want the text to be changed. You see this one? You want this one to be changed to be something else. That's why I wanted us to cover event listeners first. So remember, I talked about elements here. So it can be element, it can be document, it can be anything. So let us do a button. So we want a btn. And this one I've done it in a way that I've already selected and put this one in a variable so that I can come and put this variable here. So in this case, I can be able to just come and do this, copy this one and put it here the usual way, then do add event listener, just like that, and put everything there as we wanted. Or I can just introduce us to the new way, which is after putting it in a variable, then you come and say btn.add event listener. So you see btn has this one. Instead of copying and putting this one here, I can just come and do this one here. So add event listener. So we are responding to a click. Then we can say, because we're responding, let us just use anonymous function. And then we can say, let us change a text. Yeah, let us perform something. Let's say we want to change a text, right? So you can come and say MSG area dot text content. Remember the text content that we talked about? Then exactly what are we trying to change? So text changed. JS is not, yeah. So when you click this button, there you go. Let me refresh. This is what you have initially. So when I click this one, I expect this one to change. You click, there you go. Now, that is that, but let us see if it can be able to do more than that. So we can come and say, let us do MSG. Let us change the style. So the background is a bit boring. So let us change something. Background, come on, background color. So I want it to be a bit, uh, what? Black. And then, yeah, I hate this closing because JavaScript, if you don't close, students here are going to say, why are you not closing? But I already told you in another class that JavaScript is a very funny language. So dot style, then dot color. So it is black, let it be white. And then we can do another one. Let us increase the font, msg.style, font weight. Font weight. Let it be bold. And this ones are supposed to be single quotes. Yeah. So let us refresh. Let us go back. So refreshed. So let us click. There you go. It is changing. It is changing as you can see. Go back. You click, something happens. Yeah. So it is not that hard, by the way. It is not that hard. So this one is the simplest way that you can able to see. So simple. As you can see, it is all possible by a click event. A click, just by clicking, things are happening. Let us do another project. I guess you have understood so far. I'm going to be taking question after this. So give me a reaction. For those wondering, I've closed the session until I'm done. Then I'm going to open the forum as we conclude the class. So let us do a calculator. Calculator function .html. Calculator function.html. Now, it is very simple. Somebody is expecting me to explain. There's nothing to explain here. So please, it is direct. You've already covered this one. You've already covered this one last week. So the only thing you have covered today is event listener. So I've just plugged in event listener. Now, let us do another one. So 5. So this one is a calculator function. So calculator, calc function. So this one is under what? We are covering this one under functions. This one was under basic JavaScript. We are covering this one under this. So we can just have our normal, of course, I like using this. So we are going to use that one there. Then, like I said, I'm going to be copying things because of time. So let me copy that one and then focus on. I want to focus my energy. So that one is, so this one is CSS. We have body, calculator, input, blah, blah, blah. I want to focus my energy on JavaScript. So let me copy HTML as well. Then focus my energy on what matters a lot. So that one is, let me just pin this one. So that we can able to see the beauty of it. Bring it here. There you go. So when you put a number here, you can choose an operator if you want to, then you calculate it appears, something appears here. So that is what I want to show you. I want to show you that. So we have HTML, of course, we have header, we have div. So this div is covering from top to bottom, as you can see. Then you have input, you have selectors, you have another input, you have another button, then you have a result. Then they are being styled really well. But let us see now. So what I need you to study is we have a class here called calculator. Study that one. We have ID here. We have ID here. We have ID. We have ID. We have ID. So that one pretty much tells you what we are up against. So what we're trying to do here, people, we are trying to put here 1 and put here 2. Then when we click calculate, we want to see the answer here. For now, we are not able to see. So why is that? JavaScript is not in place. Let us use some JavaScript, by the way. So we come and say script. So script, use something there. Then let us define the functions. Define, I'm going to go quickly because I have 2 more. Calculator. Now, so const calculator. So the functions, we want to define the functions. Before I do that, I just want to put it like that so I can come and say add. So when you talk about add, you put functions that all of them together. So these are tricks that you can learn in JavaScript. So A, B. So we talk about A, B. What do you want to achieve? So we want to achieve what? A plus B. That is what we want to achieve. That one is a function. Line 62 is a function by itself, automatic. Let us do the other one. So subtract English. So when you talk about subtraction, so A, then you have B. So you're talking about A subtract B. That one is a function by itself, people. So multiply, not times. Kenyans, you're not talking about times. You're talking about multiplication. Multiply. Now, when talk about multiplication, same thing applies. So let me just copy this up to here. Avoid repetition. So we talk about A asterisk B. So this is a, function that I'm doing here, divide. We're talking about A over B, right? That one is what you're expecting me to do? No, 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 no. You cannot divide 0. I've just taught something that I didn't consider when writing this function before I come to class. You cannot divide 0. So if you cannot divide 0, what can you do? So it is A over B, right? So B is supposed to be down. So if B is supposed to be down, is the denominator. So we can come and say we want to exclude B as 0. So B should not be 0. So come and say 0. Otherwise, just do the normal one. So it is going to exclude B. If you put 0 in place of B at the 5 divided by 0, it is not going to give you an answer because you have already restricted here. Now, why? So when you use something like this, you have to give a reason. So you can come and say cannot divide by 0. Yeah, you cannot do that. There you go. So we have just done that. For selecting elements, I think you guys already know. You already know how to select elements. So let me just copy it and put it here. I just want to focus on what you guys don't know. So you select elements. So how do you select? So uh, num1 input. So num1 input, where is it? We're talking about this one here. I guess num1 input. We're talking about this one. So we select num1. Num2, select num2, which is here. Then we have another ID. So operation select document. So operation, where is it? We have it here. So you use that ID, select it. And then we have a calculate button. So calculate button, where is it? Here it is. You select it. There you go. Then you have the results. So the results button, line 56, you have something there. So that one is select. Let us add a few event listeners. So we want to do event listeners. So let us copy this one because we are talking about when you click which button. So what we are talking about clicking event, right? When you click this one, something should happen, right? So calculate, this is a button. So it's supposed to respond to that. So we pick it like that. That's what we're talking about. So calculate btn. You just come and bring it here. Dot add event listener. So we're talking about a click event. Remember, click events are normally popular. Of course, I just want to use anonymous functions. They are like, I don't want complications for most of you. So I want to perform a couple of things. Take key note of this. So I want to get all the inputs. And there's a way that I normally get all the inputs. So how do I get the inputs? So for example, for those who are taking key note, for example, here it can change to number, to text or text. So how do you get an input? So let me just put get input values. What we are doing here right now is called advanced JavaScript because when you have a database, you can fetch the inputs, then send it to the database. Using this, I add event listeners, by the way. That is what happens in JavaScript and Express.js. So take note of this. So you can just come and say, no, const num1. That's an input variable that you don't have. So we are trying to pass a float. We're trying to pass a float. So what does it mean by passing float? So come and say here, parse float, just like that. So convert string to a floating point number. As you can see, even VS Code is trying to give us an insight there. So this one is a built-in JavaScript function that converts strings to input to like floating point numbers. So a number with a decimal point, that's what's called a floating point. So float. So we are assuming that you are giving us a number that is somehow an input. So num input 1, we are taking this one here, line 68 here, dot value. So what are we picking from it? Value. We are only considering value. In other case, we normally do trim. When you say trim, you're trying to do this. When I hover here, When I talk about trimming, you are removing the preceding white spaces and the white spaces that are after the word or the letter or the character. So, but for now, let us just remove this one. You can research on it later. So you can use value. So that one is done. So let us just replicate the same for the second input. Replicate the same for the second input. Num2 input, just like that. So this one is different. So let us do another one. So for operation. So operation is still an input because you're selecting. It's still an input. So you're supposed to fetch an input there. So const operation. So we are doing the same, but we are doing it different. So operation select. So that is what we are trying to do here. So operation select. Here you can be able to see we are doing something different. But what is operation select? What is operation select? So in a calculator example, what you're seeing here, operation select, I'm trying to bring it in a way that you people can be able to understand. Let me think. So operation select, this one is a function that allows you to select a drop down, to select items from a drop down. For example, what you're seeing here. So when you click, you're able to select, subtract, and not add. So we are using operation select. So operation select. So this one is found in JavaScript, but we have already put it here. As you can see, operation select, we are picking it direct. So that one is the simplest way I can give it to you. So dot value, you're bringing it direct dot value. You close it. So we have already fetched all the inputs. Now let us do some things. Let us validate the input. You have given us an input. Let us see if this input makes sense. So you're supposed to give us input that makes sense. You might give us an empty. So let us validate. So how do you validate? Do you validate validation? So validate input. So to do so, you just say if is none. So no, not a number. None is not a number. If it is not a number, if it's not a number, which is num1, if num1 is not a number, or remember the logical gates is none, num2. So if the input one is not a number and input two is not a number, what are we supposed to do? So we come and say result div dot text content. We are producing a word out of a phrase out of nowhere. We come and say please enter valid numbers. And just come and say valid numbers only. Something like that. So if you provide values that are not numbers here, then you come and put a letter or put something that is not close to a number, it is going to refuse. So you see, please enter valid numbers only. So if you leave it empty, or if you do anything and then click calculate, it's going to give you that input. I guess we are getting somewhere. Now, after that, let us perform the calculation now, what we are ought to do. So to perform the calculation, I think you already know. So let me just bring it up. We have already done this. It is not something hard. It is a switch case. So perform calculation based on the selected criteria. So you let result. So that is what you want. So switch operation. So case. The first case is adding. So if you're talking about adding, calculator.add. So remember this function that we derived here? Here it is, line 62. So if you call upon add and then put num1 and num2, it means take num1 and add it to num2. Then it's going to give you the results. Then break. Same for subtraction, same multiplication, divide, and everything. You don't have a default one. And everything is going to be stored in here, in the results. Now, not rocket science. Let us just move slowly. Let us now conclude it. Now, how do we display? Because right now, you can put numbers here, 2, 3, but we don't have a result. When you click this button, it's not working. So how do we get the answer? So remember what we have already done here. We said that all the answers are being stored in result. So result is like an empty variable that you have put there that we can just put results inside there. So how do we get the results? So you can come and say something like display results. So to display results, what can we do? So we can come and say result div dot, we are creating it out of nowhere, the text content equals to, we use backticks. Why are we using backticks? Because we have something that is dynamic. So result, or you can come and say answer. Then we come and bring our thing here, result. Let me close this one here. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a calculator function. Let us see if it is, in Kenya it says story Java or what. So 3, if we add 4, we are supposed to get 7, right? So let us see. Answer 7. If you multiply it, we're supposed to get 12. Answer 12. If you minus, we're supposed to get what? -1. If you divide, we're supposed to get what? 0.75. Simple. If I can just come here, I can come here and even add one more thing just to make it fun. Modulus. So when we talk about modulus, what are we talking about? When we talk about modulus, what are we talking about? So let me copy this here and put it here. So when we talk about modulus, we are talking about, let me put a comma here. So we are saying we want the remainder. So A modulus B. That is what we want. So let us come and replicate the same right here. Come and say case modulus. Modulus, then I can come and say result. So result, why is it behaving like that? Yeah, something like that. So result, calculator dot modulus. Then I can come and say num1, num2. This one was not part of the plan, but let us see. Then we break. So we have done that, but we are not done with the here. So we come and say option value modulus. Then we come and put our percent. For people, let us see. So we have our modulus here. So when you take 4 divided by 3, what are you getting? 1. Why? Why are you getting 1? 4 divided by 3, the remainder is 1. Yeah. But 4 divided by 3 normally is 1.3333. But modulus for it, that one. Simple. Let us take another number. When you take 10 divided by what? 3, you also get 1. When you take 10 divided by 2, modulus 0, because you don't have a remainder. When you take 10 divided by 4, we are supposed to get 2. Why? 10 divided by 4, that one is 2, but the remainder is 2 as well. Simple. Just do the modulus to talk about the remainder. Now, that was a calculator function. I think that one is done for today. Let me see if you have found another project. You can do 2 or 3 or even 1. Dynamic list generator. This one is interesting. Yeah, this one is interesting. Let me do dynamic, then I can do the last one, and then you can call it a session, or you can even close it up for now. Let me do one more. Let me do one more. Because we have dynamic list generator and you have to-do list. Let me do to-do list, then you can go to close the session. Yeah, because to-do list has intense JavaScript. Give me reaction. Thumbs down, thumbs up, or anything. Of if you have understood so far, or if the session is nice for you. Yeah. Let us do to-do list. To-do list.html. Now HTML. Let me bring that guy up now. So this one is a long one. I'm not going to focus on the on the HTML or CSS, I'm going to focus on JavaScript because that's where my energy I want it to go. And let me copy the style. Copy the style. And then let me copy the HTML. We are trying to do a to-do list. When you do a to-do list, you add an item, you mark it as complete, you mark it as incomplete. So that is what you're trying to achieve. Let us see. Let us close this one and open. So we already have this one in place. So let us open this one. Yeah, there you go. So I want when you do something, you click add, then something appears, something appears, something appears. Total tasks that you have, completed tasks that you have, they are supposed to be all dynamic. So let us see if we can able to achieve that in the shortest time possible that we have. So script. I'm going to share this repo. I'm going to share this repo today. Don't worry. Not to worry at all. So let us first of all select all the elements. Let us select all the elements. So get DOM LMS. I'm trying to avoid repetition. There's something called dry. Do not repeat yourself. So I don't want to keep typing things that you already know. So select elements. Let me see. So let us initialize an array. So initialize array. Hold on. But so initialize an array. So what is array? This array is going to do in a normal scenario is that we are going to store data. This one acts like our database. So initialize, let's say to do array. And then we are going to say let to do's equals to, you're putting something like that, right? I'm almost done. So we want to add an event listener. So this event listener, what it's going to do is going to pick a function. We are going to call this function later on in our code base so that we can be able to see add event listener. Then we can say, we have been talking about click event, right? We can have more than even click event. Today, let us first denote click event because it's a button. Then let me call a function here. So add to do. So that one is a function that we are calling. Remember, reference that we talked about here. Where is it? Where is it? Where's that guy? Yeah, right here. Example with reference. So that's what I'm talking about. So after that, let us do something else. So add event listener when you press a key. So whenever you press a key, something should happen. Something should happen. Something should happen. So we want to react when you press a key. So you can come and say to do input dot add event listener. So we want to react when you press a key. So key press. So whenever you press a key, something should happen as well. So we come and say function. So we call that event here called E. You can say event or just call E. Then say if E.key is strictly equivalent. When you say a triple equal sign, you say that one is strict equivalent, enter. So strict equivalent to enter, then you come and say add to that function. Don't worry, it's easy to explain there. So we want to react when you press a key. That is what we want to say. So you can see it here. You want to make sure that it is viable, but right now it is not viable because we don't have that function yet, this to do function. So let us see. Let us see that function now, that to do function. So that to do function, let me just copy it, then I'm going to explain. I can see time is really moving fast and I'm going to share the code base. So what is happening here? So the to do function that I'm talking about is the one that we have been calling here without applying it. So you take, this is what I was talking about, trim. You trim the value. So what does it mean by trimming? You remove the white spaces, the one that are starting before in that word and the one that the trailing and the starting white spaces. That is what we do. From now henceforth, when you're dealing with an input that is a text, always do trim because it is going to remove all the white spaces that are there, right? Now, so you come and say, if the to-do text, the text that you're entering is empty. If you're entering an empty text, so give an alert, please enter a task, then return the person to there so that they can be able to enter a task. So if they enter an empty, this one means empty, strictly empty. What about if they enter something? So if they enter something, you collect data. Now you come and put your object now. So an object can collect even so many data types. So ID, you collect the date, the text, the to-do that you're talking about here. Then is it completed? Of course, when you create a task, it is not completed. It is not completed. When you create a task, it is not completed. That one is logics. Now, when you want to take everything here that you have collected and push it to our array. Remember our array? This one here, line 115. You want to push it there. So how do you do that? You say to-dos from what you have done here, then push everything here. So you're pushing to your to-dos. Your to-dos is your array that you are an empty array there. So add the to-dos to the array. How about the ROM, DOM rather than? So add to DOM. So render to do to the DOM. So you're going to take this one and render it to the DOM. I'm going to do a function for the DOM. It's going to come. This one is a function. So it's going to take everything that you have talked about here and put it in your DOM, document object model, in a way that is going to be managed really, really well, dynamically. After entering a text, after you have just clicked something, you want to clear the input so that you can prepare for the next one. So to do input.value, make it empty. Then after that, update your stats. So update your stats. This as well is another function that you're going to see. It's called update stats. It's going to be the last function that you're going to see. Now, what next? We have talked about that. So let us talk about the render. So we want a function to render a to-do item to the DOM. So how do we achieve that? So let me just copy it. They are really long. That's what I'm trying to avoid. It's going to take me like 30 minutes to type them and explain at the same time. So we are here, downwards. So function render to do. So what you're doing here, of course, the usual. You're creating an element out of nowhere. Remember, it's a to-do list. You're creating an element. So create an element list. After that, what are you doing next? What are you doing next? You're adding a class in that list called to-do item. After that, you're trying to play with the attribute. So data ID, you're converting it to to-do ID. So you're setting the attribute first of all so that you can be able to come and work on it later on. So not to worry, it is easy that way, by the way. So data ID, where is it? Let me scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Of course, it's not there, it's dynamic. So now create a checkbox. Remember, you are creating a new to-do item. So create a checkbox. So create an element called input. The type of that checkbox is called checkbox because it's an input type. So is it checked? So checkbox checked inamaanisha, or it means when you check a checkbox or when you tick a checkbox means the to-do list is complete. Then the checkbox, you can now take it and bring it to the event listener. We talked about change. When you change something, when you update something, something should happen. So when you update it, when you change something, that you have to toggle the to-do complete. The ID should be toggle as it is complete. Don't worry, it is not rocket science, it is easy. You have to create an element. Remember, you are in a sprint to create element. So create text span. Then a class name called to-do text. Then if the to-do is completed, what is supposed to happen? You have to mark it as completed. The to-do text, you have to create a new one. So to do text content, you have to create a new one. You're creating a new one where the one that we just created here, up here, from that span. So don't worry, it's going to come out well. If you don't understand the code, you can just copy it, put it to ChatGPT. Is going to give you a very good explanation for you to understand. I'm just trying to rush because of time for people to have a break. Then we can resume at afternoon. This function, this place here, you're creating a button. I don't want to explain what happens, creating a button, task, class list, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Add event listener for a delete button. It's going to perform that one. That button is going to be attached to this delete button to do here. Then after everything, you append. So appending, I've already talked about appending. So we have appending and then we have prepending. So append child, you append it, you add it. Prepend, you add it on top of the others, just before, to be like the earlier, not the latest. So to do item.append, you create the checkbox, you create that one, that one, that one. Then after that, you append a to-do list. So let us see if we have something so far. Just something like that. So you can check it, but we don't have any interactiveness right now. I can create so many to-dos if I want to. I can come and create so much to-dos here. I can check them, all of them, or if I can come and delete them if I want to. So the delete button is not yet functional. Why? Why is the delete button not functional? Because we don't have this function yet. So let us create a function to toggle to do completion status. So when you complete something, what should happen? So when you complete it, what should happen? There. So when you complete, so you come and say, where is it? That one is for the render. Come on. We just recreated something different. Copy and put it there. Yeah. So when you complete something, first of all, you have to map. So right now I can use mapping or I can use something called spread operator. Go and find about spread operator. I talked about that. So when you do mapping, you're trying to scan through the array that you have created, the database, to find each and every item. Then bring one by one, and checking them. So if I to do ID has an ID itself, and you have to compare. If you have to compare if something has happened. So like I said, just if you don't understand the code, please use AI. Now, updating the DOM. Now, after doing everything, each and everything, you have to update the DOM. So query selector, use it dynamically, slap everything there. And then if you find the to-dos and they are completed, so this one means that you are finding them and checking if they are completed. If they are completed, you have to mark them with complete status. If they are not completed, you have to remove them from the complete status. Not unmarked like incomplete, no, just remove them. If they are complete, add them. Then update your stats. Let us see. So when you mark, still not. I know why they are not working, because our stats are not yet complete, because you have not completed that. Even the delete button is not yet working. So let us do two more. Let us do two more. Somebody's head is aching right now, I know. Now, this one is for deleting. When you delete something, you remove it out completely. So focus on this one here. You remove an item. So remove from array, first of all, remove it from array. So filter. You find it and filter. So you filter and you pick it up itself. Then you take it and put it here and remove it. So to do item, then you update your stats. Updating your stats is like refreshing it one again. So let us see if you can go to delete. So are we able to delete here? So we are able to delete. And as you can see, it is re-updating and refreshing everything. Let us do the last one, which is updating our statistics, because we have talked about stats. What is this stats? Stats is now the number, this number that you're seeing here. Stats. If it is zero, it's supposed to remain zero. So what you're talking about here is getting the length of the tasks list that we have. Getting the length, you're fetching the length, and here complete the task. You're fetching the task if they are complete. And then taking them and creating something here, like we're focusing on the total tasks that are there, and the total tasks that are completed. That's what you're talking about. So let us see. If we create a task and we click complete, so total tasks are 1. Let us create like so many. So as you can see, they are counting. So if I click this one, total task complete. We have 1. Total task, as you can see, even they are being stroked. We are striking them. So this one is from CSS, as you can see. I can complete all of them, checking the box. I can delete this one, minuses everything. I can delete this one, as you can see, a to-do list. So the question that you're supposed to reflect on for this one is, you're supposed to know document object model and why is it important. You have seen actually how to use query selectors, which differ from the normal method of get element by ID, and checking the difference between in HTML and text content. I talked about that last time, about security measures. And then, how do event listeners work? And what are the different phases of event propagation? Ask yourself this question, and then it's going to be better. People, I think we have just wrapped up advanced JavaScript. Remember, my goal is not to make sure that it enters your brain. My goal is just to prime you so that you can be able to propel yourself to understand these things better. Okay, let me now open the flow. I think I've been talking so much. Let me now open my flow. Start with the noisemakers. Just give your feedback. For questions, put the questions in the Q&A. Put your question in the Q&A. The repo is going to be sent right now. If you have a question, put them in the Q&A. Comments, put them on the, what do you call, the chat section. Let me enable the people to raise up their hands. Yeah. And people are waiting for me. Yeah, somebody's calling JavaScript. Okay. Yeah, JavaScript is not for the week. Okay, let me allow that person to start talking. And then I'm going to Hilda. So, Adeleke, please, do you have something?
Good morning from Nigeria.
Come
Hello.
again? Yes.
Good morning from Nigeria. Yeah.
Morning.
Yes, how you doing, sir?
I'm fine.
Yeah. I'm just going to digress a little bit. I'm having an issue with how to sign up Cursor. It's not been working, and I've been going over up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's not actually doing well.
I think I'm not getting you really.
Hello, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I'm hearing you, but I'm not getting you. You're not clear enough.
Okay, I'm talking about Cursor here. Cursor.
Yes.
Yeah, I cannot actually sign in after I install the app. Don't know how.
What operating system are you using?
Windows.
Windows. So when you want to sign to Casa, just navigate to casa.com. You sync the accounts, casa.com, you sign in on Casa here. Then when you go to your Casa, there's a place, let me show you. There's a place whereby you can be able to sign. Let me bring it up. Actually, for this project, actually. I hope my screen is visible. So when you go to the top right, you can see the open Casa settings.
Yeah.
Then you can check here. You can come and manage. You can come and sign in from here. Then you can sync with the account that you've just signed in on the browser. Is that clear?
It is clear, but I've done that actually, but it's not working.
It's supposed to work, by the way. It's supposed to work. Don't know. I'm not using Windows. I'm a Linux person, so I've not installed it on Windows at all. So I don't know how it works. But keep researching on the internet. You're going to find the how to. Allow me to go to the next person. Of time. Hilda,
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
time.
How are you doing?
Fine.
Okay, thank you for this comprehensive lesson.
Yes.
Okay, I have three issues to be addressed. Number one
Mhm.
is we need your email address so that when you have, we are encountering some LMS issues or assignment issues, we send you an email so that you address it as well. Number two, we had a project, a group project. So we have been waiting for you to give us a link or a Google form so that we submit that group work. Up to
You're,
date, we haven't seen it.
you're going to get that. I've been busy on other aspects. So, but I'm going to get it done. I think it was almost done. I was in consultation of the same. So I'm going to get it done. So don't panic. Don't panic. You're going to capture your inputs.
Okay, finally, sir,
Mhm.
we need to know the deadline for the assignments because, of course, some of us will we choose some of the unit, the modules. So we need to know the deadline for the assignments so that we commit ourselves because for now we are being overwhelmed by around three modules. We are not done
So,
with it. So we need to.
so so earlier on, I had set deadlines, but you can see people are trying to they were reached out to my email. They want to reschedule, they want to do this and this and this and this. But for now, because the model is about to complete just before the specialization starts, or you complete your project because it is in 2 weeks' time. So count from today, 2 weeks until next week on Friday. That is the deadline, the ultimate deadline that we have given for all the assignments before jumping to specialization. Your
Okay,
first,
thank you.
your first question. In case of any question regarding LMS, you cannot do it on my email because I'm not going to focus on that, by the way. Use the Academy email. So the Academy email, I'm going to share it on WhatsApp and even here in the course of the due of the session. You're going to share, if you have urgent issues about the LMS and everything, share it there. Not to the instructor, but to the Academy link, Academy email. We have people responsible for that, kindly. I hope I've answered you. Okay. Let me answer things on so when is Angular included? We are not using Angular, James. Somebody saying about project week 8. So when talk about week 8, yeah, we are going to handle that in the next session. We are going to handle this question in the next session, not today. When is the project due? I'm going to answer this in the next session. What if you want to get history of all completed tasks? Yeah, you can just do that. Even the deleted, you can do that. Just write a few JavaScript. Not going to do that for now. Angular not included. Just answered that one. The difference between Node and VS Code. Node is a runtime environment for JavaScript. VS Code is a code editor. What project are you talking about while you are starting? Like what projects? Yeah, you have the final project for web development before you enter specialization. Touch on APIs, not today. That one is not in this module. It is on specialization. Come to Manstack, you're going to find out. The repo I'm going to share right now are the new AI courses for everyone who is specializing on AI. It is going to be communicated. The specialization, I think, it's about time. In the specialization, full stack. Are we gonna use Java? No, not Python, not Python. It is full stack man. That the full stack module that you're going to handle. It is the advancement of web development, which is man stack, MongoDB, Express, React, and Node, not Python, not even Django. Can we please get full week without classes so we can catch up on everything? Yeah, we are going to have a catch up for web development this week on Wednesday from 2 p.m. A link is going to be shared. Next week is going to be our work, but I'm going to conduct another specialization, the final catch up next week. So it's going to be a session without any class on Wednesday. Can I use Node on Windows here? Of course. There's one AI module that has no content. Don't worry about that. Okay, if you're asking questions on the charts, I'm not going to see them. I'm only answering questions on the Q&A. And AI is welcome. Please use AI. Don't be afraid. It is very much welcome. Let me push this code. First of all, let me generate. The GitHub is coming. Be patient. Otherwise, you can just tell me how the session, somebody can just request for mic so that they can be able to tell me how the session was. Manuel.
Afternoon. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yes, first of all, thank you, sir. From my point of view, the session was quite hands-on. You really took us through the various aspects of the object manipulation and the event handling very well. I think it's just up to us to do quite a bit of practice.
Yeah.
But so far, thank you, sir. That was a good session.
So this one is just the beginning. You're going to find me in the man stack, and trust me, you're going to like it.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. This person using the email, I don't know who it is. Werimo.
Yes.
Afternoon.
Hi. Afternoon to you,
Yes.
sir. Yeah, thank you for the wonderful session. Although for me, it was quite tough. Yeah, I think I need to go over and over it again because, yeah, at the beginning, when you started with the interactive button, I was understanding, but when it came to the calculator function and the to-do list, I was floating, to be honest.
No
Thank
problem.
you for the wonderful work.
The recording is there. Go through the recording and then do more research. Do more research. Trust me, I myself, I'm a self-taught developer. Most of the time I do my own research, not YouTube tutorials, not YouTube tutorials. Go to documentation, go to this documentation and learn. Go to AI, ask it questions and learn. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Going to push. Let me push it using AI. You see, I can even use AI. Push, create a repo public, and push this code. Let me see if the MCP is working. If you are in my class last time, let me see if the MCP is working. It is not. Refresh. I'm going to pick other people to ask their questions shortly. I think it's not working for now, but no problem. So where will we find the session recording in the LMS in the course week 7? Is everyone supposed to enroll? No. That's a specialization. Yeah, that's a specialization. We have Manstack, we have AI, we have software testing and so on. When is the deadline for final project? Next week on Friday. Start it now. It can be group project, it can be single, can do it single as a person. Feel free to use AI. Go to Lovable, go to Casa, go to Bolt. Use AI to build your project. You're not restricted by the way, but just understand the concept because AI sometimes might give you errors. So try to understand why it is giving you errors so that you can be able to redirect it somehow. Next week on Friday, I'm also that. Welcome to LMS. Welcome to Manstack. People, I'm waiting for you. For the group assignment, is it a must to do the using groups or in the LMS? You can use it on the LMS or you can just formulate groups within the WhatsApp. People who are working with and compatible with you. Is it possible to share the lesson and the course that will be taught under the specialization? Specialize first. Can you please share the catch up? Somebody share the WhatsApp link, please. Somebody share the WhatsApp class link. Or you just can take it to the next person. Yep, you can do that as well. But you have to specialize first, then you can be able to see the content under there. You cannot see that if you have not specialized and categorized promptly. You rush today's content, yet we all here to learn. I didn't rush. I didn't rush. You know why I didn't rush? We have covered a lot of content before. For those who are not able to be in the class earlier on, not to be rude by the way, Brian, for those who are not able to be in the class earlier on for the previous classes that I've done myself, the recordings are on the LMS. So for better catching up and understanding today's class was only about events, only about events. The other things about JavaScript, HTML, CSS are already covered. The sessions are recorded and are there. Please go and review them so that you can be able to catch up with us well. Because the questions that you're supposed to be asking only for today is only the events. So it was only a smaller part. The other parts we already covered. That's why I really rushed so that because we already covered only small parts. So sorry if I did that, but we're going to do a full catch up from I think week 3 to week 7 on Wednesday 2 p.m. Which is the best? Depends with you, but I can recommend full stack because you're going to do backend, front-end database. You can ship a whole project that is full stack, like full web applications. Do you use both? I use both. Somebody will share the WhatsApp link. I'm going to do that soon if it is not available. No, the week 8 project is not required for graduation, but if you don't intend to specialize, specialization is an option. If you don't intend, that one is going to be your final for graduation. If you intend to specialize, the week 16 project or the week 8 for specialization is going to be your final project. Which Linux version? Ubuntu 24. Teachers to push how to push. Hey, that one, find me in my attempt. Where do you specialize? A link will be shared promptly or has been shared. Find your colleagues and ask them maybe. I think it was shared. Are we going to receive yeah. Why is specialization only? No, not for one module. We have AI for software engineering. We have Manstack, that is full stack. We have AI for software. We have software testing, and we have Dart, Flutter specialization. We have several. A form, I think, if it has not been shared, it's going to be shared, but I think it was shared. WhatsApp link is coming soon. Week 7 under class recording, you're going to find the recordings there. Who will handle? Instructor Alan is going to handle Flutter. Can we specialize on 2 courses? I think at least, yeah, I think 2 at most, not 3, 2 at most, but we consider or recommend focusing on 1 because it is intense. That one is not beginner like this one. It is intermediate. What are the advantages of learning Manstack? Manstack allows you to build fully fledged web application that has backend, has a database, has a front end. Full stack, like I mean full stack. It would be nice to have a break so the people comprehending the information. Yeah, there's a break, by the way. Pardon, what do you? if you don't intend to specialize, this final project that we are doing for this first 8 weeks is going to be a final for graduation. If you intend to specialize, then the model that you're going to specialize on, you're going to do a final project for that. Wait a minute. Are we going? Yeah, if you intend to specialize, we have just done week 8. That's not enough, by the way. You are not even primed. You are not even ready. So we are taking you. We just took you through basics. Full stack software testing is really slim, my opinion. The repo is coming shortly. W3 schools or Geek for Geeks. You can have roadmap.sh. Somebody can share the link. What if we do week 16? Yeah, that's okay. That's what we are talking about. But one is going to be considered the final one. Week 16 is going to be the final one. No, I'm not going to teach GraphQL. I'm going to teach REST API. GraphQL is a bit complex and is also have some limitation. For me, I use GraphQL for coding sometimes, but for teaching, I'm going to teach REST API. What will AI software entail? That was going to be machine learning a bit. I've not gone into that module a bit, but you can just ask the instructor for Python. Are we going to have the hackathon? Yeah, we are going to have hackathons that are going to be, yeah, nice. Just leave alone the one that we did last time. That one is a bit shallow, the portfolio. We're going to do a nice one. Graphene, no. A link will be shared. If it does not, do you mean specialization is optional? It's optional, but recommended for your graduation. Metrics. Can we find the week 7 for today? The questions are coming. You guys, you're not giving me a breather. Anyway, week 7 will be, yes. Let me push this one. Let me first of all disable this. You guys are asking a lot of questions. I answer a few questions, then I can be able to release. So this is the link. So somebody can put it on the Q&A. Somebody can put it on the Q&A and share it on the WhatsApp. So Sharon, hello.